a little bit before. I'm Belinda Shulatepo, Senior Nutritionist at the National Food and Nutrition Commission. But in my personal capacity, I also do social media on matters around nutrition. So when I was invited to give a small talk, I thought to myself, okay, we are talking about risk management. How then does nutrition come in? Are we also looking at the human being, the employer, the employee? Maybe let's look at risk in terms of human nutrition. The presentation really is on making healthy food choices, and especially I'll be speaking about food choices in the workplace. We often ignore. We think it's just food. As long as we are full, right? We are good to go. But it does play a huge impact on human capital, especially the quality of human capital. So why this topic is really to reduce the risk of malnutrition. I want to use a term that we've all been using since yesterday. So it was to reduce the risk of malnutrition. And when we talk of malnutrition, I know many of us know the kind on the far left. Kwashiorkor, marasmus, children with yellow hair, skinny, but we don't look at ourselves as being malnourished, do we? It's possible that you could be malnourished. Reason being, when you start going towards your right, we start to see different forms of malnutrition. Zambia is now faced with different forms of malnutrition. In the past, it was only the kwashiorkors and some what we call undernutrition. So when you say malnutrition, it's really bad feeling. I know in Zambia when you say malnutrition, you think only of undernutrition, but there's also overnutrition, where one is overweight and also has micronutrient deficiencies, right? And we are seeing this also in the workplace. People may look totally fine, but there is what we call hidden hunger. You are eating food, especially food that is very processed, but at the same time, hidden hunger kicks in, meaning micronutrient deficiencies. And then there's also the issue of obesity, which is very common in the workplace. And it's understandable that we are seeing a lot of us becoming obese, because you really come at 6 a.m., you get come round about 19, 20 hours. You're having your dinner at 20, 30, 21. 10 minutes later, you're snoring in front of the TV. Where is all that energy going? And then 6 again, you're in your car, off you go. I've heard we have directors here, we have CEOs, and from your lifestyle, I know you are in air-conditioned rooms, you are served food, you are in and out of workshops, in and out of hotels, in and out of aircrafts. So what time do you have to actually eat well, to ensure that you are eating well? So it's understandable that you see, or we are beginning to see a lot of people becoming overweight and even morbidly obese, sadly. But also there's the trend of what we call supplementation. People are popping in pills, you're told, okay, don't focus on your diets, just pop in a pill or two with nutrients. But then with that also we are beginning to see toxicity levels of minerals, calcium, iron. It's possible to reach toxicity levels. Also we have what we call the nutrition transition, where we are seeing more and more people, because we are aiming to earn more, we are aiming to improve our productivity, our incomes. We are seeing that we are shifting from healthier food alternatives to poorer and poorer food alternatives. And also the perception in Zambia, I don't know if I can broaden it to Africa as well, there is a perception that there is food for the affluent and food for the poor. From the number of people I talk to, when I say, eat vegetables like kachesha. Kachesha. I ate kachesha in the village. I'm not going to calculate any such as kachesha. Right? It's like we have this perception that there is food for when you are affluent and food for when you are poor, which is a very wrong perspective, and we need to change that. And then also the aggressive marketing of foods. We are seeing a lot of prime spots on mass media. All the prime spots are about food, or some kind of funny living crisis out there. Not only are they marketing this right, They are targeting our children with those colorful songs and colorful. Look at the billboard there with one of our favorite celebrities, right? Your Maps. Advertising a beverage that is high in sugar, very processed. But because it is Your Maps who is there, we are going to consume it. Because it is said to, when they will use nutrition claims that are false and sometimes misleading as well. They'll say, for example, made from real fruits. I'm sure you've seen a drink somewhere. But when you check the label, it's no fruits at all. It's colorants and preservatives and things you can't even pronounce. Increasing burden of disease. The more we are seeing more and more people becoming overweight and obese, we are also seeing diseases of lifestyle, what we call diet-related non-communicable diseases. These include type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and so on and so forth. Cancer. Most of the people I have seen as a nutritionist coming very late, and usually it's, okay, I did not know. Why am I only knowing this now? Oftentimes it's too late. That's at the level where you have to now depend on medication. And so diet then won't help you as much as it should. So overall, we are seeing poor knowledge of issues to do with nutrition, especially how to eat. When we focus on what to eat, that's why I say we are classifying food as food for the poor, food for the rich. Which one is for the rich from Betsy? Everyone is saying the right because I talked about it earlier, but oftentimes it's the other side. And I think it's only in Africa where the nutrient poor foods are seen or are considered to be for the affluent. And then the nutrient rich foods, which a lot of the lower income households are exposed to, are considered to not be for the affluent. They actually aspire. I'm a community nutritionist, so I work a lot in the rural areas. And when you are probably conducting a training with community volunteers, they'll say, no, bring broiler chicken from the Bona. Nobody wants to eat them, but we are going to pay for the village chicken that you have. And no, we don't want it. Bring broiler, or bring a bag of mealing meal. They have mealing meal there, which is what we call ngaiwa, straight running. I will find, but they'll ask you to bring the breakfast meal, the refining, because that's what you see the affluent consume. So who is to blame? Oftentimes we say the farmer. The farmer is producing GMO foods and all kinds of preservatives and herbicides, and we find who to blame, and the farmer usually will claim the food. Also, the food industry. But, and I've been asked this before, why is it that you as government, you know that these foods are bad for us? Why are you allowing them in the market? For free, come on. You and I need to demand for better. I see how we fervently speak about football. No, probably none of us has kicked the ball before. But when I mention a football team, you'll be able to tell me their records and how who's better than the other. If I say Man U, the Arsenal team will say no, they're useless. If I say Arsenal, So the idea here is that we need to be informed. We need that knowledge. For me, I envision a Zambia where we actually talk nutrition. Whatever opportunities we have, we bring out issues of nutrition because it affects each and every person here in this room. So we cannot let it to the food industry to dictate to us what should have real food or real nutrients or whatever. You have billboards saying it contains 6 vitamins and 12 minerals, but when you look at the label, it's 0.00006. So they will defend themselves and say, and countless times we try to take them to court as Food and Nutrition Commission, but you'll be told no. It does contain 0.00012 is vitamin B12. But meanwhile, it's very minute. You can't really even consider it a good source of such a nutrient. But also we blame the supermarkets. They stock these foods, especially at the pay points there. You have all kinds of chocolates, As you are waiting to pay, you grab here and there. So are they to blame? The media as well? They need to make money, and it's usually the aggressive marketers who are ready to pay them as much as possible. You want to scan a document using these scam scanners, the first advert that comes is of an ultra-processed food. Boma Yanganebu, we usually like to say, can the government do something about any, even the smallest issue that you and I can take care of? But here I want us to remember that it is you and I who makes government. It is you and I who have to make the noise. And so the strategy towards nutrition has to change. We've focused a lot on changing policies, changing this, but it ends at that level. It never trickles down to the individual citizen. So then what do we need to do? I just want to share 5 things we can do to actually alleviate some of these problems of malnutrition or reduce the risk of malnutrition in our various institutions here represented, but also in our homes. Because we have 5 this here represented. Firstly, we need to promote healthy eating early in life. Let's not wait until you are 30, 40, 50 before you can start reducing on salt, reducing on sugar, and so forth. So oftentimes the mass cannot have a diabetic diet. The diabetic diet is how we are supposed to eat from the start. So from the start, really, we talk a lot about breastfeeding. And as a nutrition fraternity, we are actually sad to see that exclusive breastfeeding rates for infants 0 to 6 months has greatly reduced, at least by 10%. That 64% you are seeing there is not a good figure. We were at 73% in the ZDHS 2018. Now 2024, ZDHS is showing that it's only 64%, which is sad. So meaning we are seeing more and more women working, which is a good thing, they're contributing to the economy. But I think it's high time that the institutions they work for also support the need to breastfeed. And by law, we know we have maternity leave, but beyond that, we also need breastfeeding breaks for mothers. By law, it's 1 hour a day where a mother who is lactating. So all that really, I think, needs to be part of an organization's policy. So the women in the organization, how protected are they? How are we protecting, supporting this issue? Because we think about it as it's benefiting this woman or her family, but it's also benefiting the organization. If you think about it, a well-breastfed child will fall sick less often. A well-breastfed child has less risk of allergies. A well-breastfed child will grow optimally. And so the mother has more time to focus on work, or the father has more time to also focus on work, other than creating a situation where they're introduced to this formula. Formula has its place, but if the mother can breastfeed, she has to be supported to breastfeed. But the formula we give, the animal milk, if you look at that table there, that's just to show you how milk is, composed differently. When you look at human milk, it's meant for the human being. Don't say because it's less in calcium, let's give cow milk. Who says they need that much calcium? Our babies are not born and they start walking there and there. But the cow, the goat does that. So that's why even the composition is different. I want to be honest, because when we start eating these other foods, we start seeing now high cases of diarrhea. You see a mother now saying, sorry, can I please take 2 days off, my child has diarrhea. Sorry, I need 1 week off, my child has an allergy. Sorry, high fever, So you have all these problems which interrupt work. But if we supported breastfeeding adequately, we will not be seeing these problems. They need to benefit you as an organization, as also risk managers. So also, I want us to remember that we have 6 food groups for Zambia now, and not 3. You remember, I'm sure for most of us, we learned in school, bodybuilding, energy giving, and protective foods. But in order to manage the risk of what we call micronutrient deficiencies, As Zambia, we have broadened our scope and now looking at food groups, and those are functions of food. Our previous food groups were functional. Actually, we are very late. These were only developed in 2020 because nutrition is still in its infancy, we're still growing, but we are getting there. So these are the new 6 food groups for Zambia: cereals, staples, and tubers. And what I've put at the far right there is really just the servings to give you an idea of what your plate should look like. How is 1 to 2 fist sizes? How do we feel about it? That's enough? Kind of, I see. So that's just to give you an idea of the servings that we are also recommending to prevent NCDs that we talked about earlier, to prevent obesity, to prevent micronutrient deficiencies. So we go down there, those are the 6 that we have for the country, with the first 4 being the most important, and then obviously animal source foods as well. And I like to call dairy or milk the spare wheel of the 6 food groups. So the high quality foods also. So even if we have the 6 food groups, let's also stick to those that are of high quality. Oftentimes as a nutritionist you are asked, is beef good for me? It's not a clear-cut yes and no. In what form is it? How have you cooked it? Fried, grilled, and so forth. So also looking at having high quality foods from these food groups. Even when you're selecting foods, so try this a buffet or food when we're going for lunch now, there'll be a buffet of food. I want you to select food with a nutrition. If that's not too much. It should start with us. Like I said, it's all fun and games when you do not have any of these conditions, but ask those who are suffering from a non-communicable of a disease that is diet-related. It becomes more difficult to change later on in life. Imagine you're 60 and you're told you can't fry anymore. Just boil. It becomes more difficult. So let's select foods also of high quality. And for me, this is the biggest culprit to nutrition situation in the country. We are seeing a lot of ultra-processed foods on the market. Ultra-processed meaning severely processed. I don't even think they qualify to be called food. When you look at the label, it's ingredients you can't pronounce. E102. What is that? So that's what we call ultra-processed food, and that is just an example. One of the drinks on our market right now, it's just one of them, which has very high sugar. And we know cancer cells without sugar. You want to progress your cancer? Give me sugar. And you see how rapidly you progress. God forbid. These are foods that usually high in sugar and very processed, and that leads to our body. We call them anti-energy. It's energy with no nutrients. You gain weight from it, but get nothing. So in terms of human quality, again, eating such kinds of food, what are we stocking in our canteens, at the workplace? What are we offering? As government also, we go in this in the field, you're meeting people, you go with truckloads of these drinks, with biscuits, and that is tea break. At least for me who works in the rural areas, I see that a lot. What message are we giving them? What message are we giving our employees as well, where we work, when we are stocking our canteens with very poor foods? Also, we need to have zero tolerance to the abuse of alcohol. We are seeing this escalating in Zambia, and it has nutritional consequences as well. 70% of men who consume alcohol abuse alcohol, take it in excess. And then for women, 30%. I hope I haven't touched the wrong nerve, but that's the situation. And unfortunately, with alcohol abuse, we are seeing nutrients being depleted, quality of life also decreases. We accelerate cancer, especially cervical cancer, which is the leading cancer actually in Zambia today. But I guess because Dr. Go would like to have a taste of our Zambian mosi, he mentioned it twice now. I didn't know whether to delete the slide. I was a bit nervous. I'm like, what do we think when I put up that slide? But maybe to accommodate Dr. Go, I'll propose that, I know there is no self-limit. Let's be clear about that. There is no self-limit, but perhaps 2 standard drinks of alcohol for women and 4 standard, or rather 1 standard for women and 2 standard for women. So that would be 4 per day, sir. Sorry? That is per day. So that would be 4 bottles of Mosi. For those who are going to have Mosi after this event, 4 bottles max. If you can have 1 or nothing at all, even better. Maybe just allow Dr. Go to have a taste and that's it. But really, it actually causes a lot of nutritional problems as well. And also indeed, even in the work of productivity, in the workspace also increases. So in conclusion, I wanted to conclude there because based in the room not ready with that also a slide. So really to conclude really, I just want a broad reminder. I really want this to stick with us that Zambia needs to improve its human capital. We talk about improving infrastructure. We have to remember that our #1 resource is the people. And I hope we now understand that even having poor human capital is a risk on its own. So really, is it possible for us to improve institutional wellness policies? I say improve because I believe some institutions here represented do have policies, but how effective are they? How functional are they? Having periodic talks with employees on issues to do with diet, nutrition, and health in general as well plays an important role in ensuring a good human capital. Encourage regular checkups as well. I don't know when last you checked your blood pressure, your sugar levels. It's usually when someone collapses, black somewhere, take them to the hospital. Oh, your BP was 160/100. And that is usually sometimes too late. It would have been easily managed in checkups. You can do it quarterly, for example, where team comes in to check employees, how is their health status. We talked about stress yesterday, which is through people that may not developing a lot of stress due to various reasons, but also health checkups is a plus. It supports lactating mothers as well. And to see how the organization will actually thrive. Find that you have a mother who is lactating and she's head of, I don't know, finance or head of something, but if not supported to breastfeed adequately, you will see a poor child. And it's the same child who should one day occupy the positions you're occupying today. So we are not careful with our human capital, we will remain in this vicious cycle of poverty. Also our procurement systems. What do we procure for tea breaks, for lunch, for workshops, and things like that? And we be intentional with what we serve. We know we are in and out of meetings these days. We are in and out of the office, but what is available to us? You spend most of your time. Probably the home meals are just for the people you live at home. But your meals probably come from the workspace. So what is around you? Yet is it possible to have in our business policy and a deliberate effort to have healthy food choices around our employees? And also encourage physical activity. Sedentary lifestyle should not be encouraged. Even workshops such as this, stand up, stretch, do a little bit of some movement. Encourage that also in the workplace to ensure that people are functioning at their optimal best. So now we are hungry now, and I'm confident that we are going to make healthy food choices from today moving forward. Don't postpone this to tomorrow. This lunch hour, we are making healthier food choices. So with that said, to Arumba, for more information on what I've said, you can check Way to Eat, where I talk a lot around issues of nutrition. Thank you.